Picture this. I walked into my daughter's wedding, the child I had poured my entire soul into raising, only to hear her say with ice in her voice, "Dad, I'm sorry, but you weren't invited. Please leave." I walked away quietly, my heart shattered by her betrayal. But within 2 hours, her picture-perfect wedding became a complete disaster. Was this revenge? No. This was justice served cold. Before we dive deeper, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. The champagne flute slipped from my trembling fingers, crystal exploding across the polished marble like scattered diamonds, each shard catching the shock written all over my daughter's face. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Emily's voice sliced through the refined murmur of wedding guests like a blade. That wedding gown, the $12,000 masterpiece I had paid for, swished as she instinctively stepped backward. "You weren't supposed to come." There I stood, frozen at the entrance to this grand ballroom, clutching the gift I had personally wrapped with such care. Ecuadorian white roses bloomed in every corner, their sweet fragrance mingling with designer perfumes and the thick scent of judgment. Above us, an ornate chandelier painted rainbow reflections on walls that had drained 3 months of my company's profits just to secure. "Sweetheart, it's your wedding day," I managed, my voice coming out softer than I had planned. "I just wanted to wish you both happiness." Michael materialized at her side, every inch of his tuxedo tailored to perfection, wearing a smile that could freeze summer itself. "Mr. Clark, I believe there's been some confusion here." "What confusion?" I searched desperately between their faces, hoping to glimpse the little girl who once begged me to push her swing just a little higher. Emily's eyes darted toward the watching guests, women draped in designer silk whispering behind crystal, champagne flutes, men in custom suits pretending not to eavesdrop while hanging on every single word. "This is an intimate family gathering," she said, her voice strained with embarrassment. "Close family members only." Those words crashed into me like Arctic water. 28 years of bedtime stories, elementary school plays, and dance recital applause crumbled into that one devastating sentence. 28 years of choosing her college tuition over my retirement fund, her dreams over my own comfort. "I funded this entire wedding, Emily." The statement came out measured and factual. Every single flower, every place setting, that very dress you're wearing. Michael's jaw clenched visibly. "Money can't purchase class, sir." "Michael's absolutely right," Emily whispered, refusing to meet my gaze. "This isn't about finances, it's about social circles. You simply don't understand the caliber of people attending tonight." I understood with crystal clarity. The construction worker who had built their mansions wasn't welcome at their exclusive celebrations. The man who had sacrificed his entire world so his daughter could ascend into theirs had finally outlived his usefulness. Around us, every conversation had died completely. A photographer slowly lowered his camera, while the string quartet continued their elegant melody, completely oblivious to the family drama unraveling in their sophisticated backdrop. "I understand perfectly." I carefully placed the gift box on a nearby table between untouched champagne glasses and pristine white orchids. "I certainly wouldn't want to cause you any embarrassment. Dad, please don't make this more difficult than it has to be." I studied every detail of her face, memorizing features I had kissed goodnight for 18 precious years. Those emerald eyes inherited from her mother, now cold as winter river stones. That smile I had worked countless overtime hours to straighten with braces, now turned completely away from me. "You're absolutely right," I said quietly. "I don't belong in this world." The walk toward the exit felt like crossing an endless desert. Designer heels clicked rhythmically against marble floors. Whispered conversations gradually resumed in my wake. Someone released a high, artificial laugh that echoed off the walls. My work boots, carefully polished for this special occasion, felt impossibly heavy against their pristine flooring. Outside, Fresh spring air flooded my lungs like pure liberation. The parking lot spread before me, packed with luxury vehicles I could never dream of affording. My weathered pickup truck sat completely alone in the furthest corner, exactly where it belonged in their glittering world. I pulled out my phone, my fingers surprisingly steady despite everything crashing down. Around me, 25 years of building a business from absolutely nothing had taught me the art of patience. 25 years of loving an ungrateful daughter had taught me loyalty's true price. The screen illuminated with several missed calls from my attorney regarding some property dispute. I scrolled past them all to locate a different number entirely, one I hadn't dialed in months, but suddenly needed desperately. My thumb paused over the contact name. First National Bank Business Services. Inside that opulent ballroom, my daughter was toasting her brilliant new future without me. Outside in the parking lot, I was preparing to launch mine without her. The phone rang exactly once before connecting. Those heavy venue doors sealed shut behind me with the finality of a bank. Vault locking. Wedding music faded to distant whispers as I crossed the asphalt toward my truck, each footstep more purposeful than the last. That gift box remained abandoned on their table, forgotten like everything else I had ever given them. March wind carried the distinct scent of approaching storm clouds. Darker weather gathered ominously above the venue's Gothic spires, casting long shadows across luxury automobiles worth more than most people's entire homes. My boots crunched on loose gravel as I reached the truck, keys already prepared in my hand. Inside the cab, complete silence enveloped me like protective armor. The dashboard clock displayed 3:47 p.m., plenty of time remaining before banks closed on Saturday afternoon. More than enough time to make several critically important phone calls. I scrolled through my contacts until I located exactly what I needed. First National Bank Business Services appeared clearly on the screen. My finger hesitated for precisely 3 seconds before pressing call. First National, this is Patricia speaking. How may I assist you today? Patricia, this is James Clark, account number 7794512. I need to initiate immediate stop payments on several authorized transactions. Of course, Mr. Clark. Let me access your account information. Can you verify your social security number and your mother's maiden name for security purposes? Standard banking procedure. I provided the required information while observing more guests arriving through the venue's front entrance. Women adjusting silk evening gowns, men straightening expensive cufflinks, none of them having the slightest idea what was about to unfold inside. Thank you for verification. I can see several substantial transactions posted today. Which specific payments would you like stopped? All wedding-related expenses, venue rental fees, catering deposits, floral arrangement contracts, photography, services, musical entertainment, every single item. Each expense rolled off my tongue like a detailed inventory list. Implementation must be immediate and final. Sir, these represent very significant financial amounts. Are you completely certain about stopping all these payments? Absolutely certain. There have been major changes in circumstances. Keyboard. Clicking filled the brief pause between us. I'll require authorization codes for any transactions exceeding $10,000. I recited those codes perfectly from memory. 25 years of operating a construction business had drilled into me the importance of remembering every crucial number, every contract detail, every single payment authorization code. Stop payments are now officially in effect. Confirmation. Numbers are being generated for your records. Is there anything else I can help you with today? That covers everything on the banking side. Thank you very much, Patricia. My next call went directly to Spokane's most prestigious catering company. The same outrageously expensive company Emily had absolutely insisted on, despite their astronomical pricing. Elegant Affairs. Catering, this is Marcus speaking. Marcus, this is James Clark. I'm calling regarding the Anderson wedding reception currently in progress. Oh yes, Mr. Clark, everything is proceeding beautifully. The guests are absolutely raving about the appetizer selection. I'm afraid there's been a serious financial complication. Payment authorization has been completely revoked. You'll want to immediately protect your equipment and halt any remaining food service. Silence stretched uncomfortably between us. Then finally, I'm sorry. What exactly are you telling me? The bank has officially stopped payment on your entire contract, effective immediately. I strongly suggest you secure your assets and equipment. But we're right in the middle of active service. The main course hasn't even been served yet. That's rather unfortunate timing. My voice remained perfectly steady and professional. You might want to discuss alternative payment arrangements directly with the wedding party. Marcus disconnected without another word. Smart business decision. The florist answered on the second ring. Bellingham Blooms, this is Susan speaking. Susan, this is James Clark calling regarding the Anderson wedding flower arrangements. Mr. Clark, the arrangements look absolutely stunning tonight. The bride was so thrilled with those imported orchids. There's been a significant payment issue. Bank authorization has been completely canceled. You'll need to collect your arrangements immediately if you want to salvage any commercial value. Collect them, but they're completely integrated into the entire venue's design scheme. Business is business, Susan. I'd suggest you move quickly on this. 3 more calls followed in rapid succession. Photography services, the string quartet, even the linen rental company. Each conversation unfolded with the same predictable pattern. Professional courtesy dissolving into growing alarm, then hasty disconnections as vendors scrambled to protect their investments. My phone displayed 4:15 p.m. when the final call ended. Through the windshield, I watched a pristine white catering van pull up to the venue's service entrance. Marcus, no doubt, arriving to salvage whatever he could from the wreckage. Inside that opulent ballroom, Emily was probably still graciously greeting guests, completely oblivious that her fairy tale wedding was about to transform into a very expensive education. Michael was likely holding court with his father's wealthy associates, basking in his perceived superiority over simple construction workers like me. Neither of them truly understood what their cruelty had cost them today. I turned the ignition and slowly pulled out of the parking space, driving deliberately past the venue's grand entrance. Through those towering windows I caught fleeting glimpses of the reception in full celebration. Crystal glasses raised in elegant toasts, sophisticated figures gliding across polished marble floors. All of it about to change forever. My phone buzzed with an incoming call. Emily's name appeared on the screen, bright and insistent. I let it ring unanswered, watching as it finally went silent. The dashboard clock read 4:20 p.m. when the first truck arrived. Bellingham Blooms painted in elegant script across pristine white paneling. Susan sat behind the wheel with 2 assistants, ready for action. They parked efficiently near the service entrance and unloaded empty containers with businesslike precision. Through the venue's expansive windows, I could observe the cocktail reception reaching its peak. Crystal glasses caught, chandelier light as guests mingled around Emily's precious imported orchids. Michael gestured expansively to a circle of men in $1,000 suits, probably detailing his latest brilliant business venture. Neither bride nor groom noticed the florist team entering through those side doors. Emily stood positioned near the main entrance, absolutely radiant in $12,000 worth of silk and pearls, graciously accepting congratulations from an endless stream of relatives and friends. Her laughter rang across the ballroom, bright and completely carefree. That sound would change very soon. Susan appeared in the ballroom doorway carrying 2 large plastic containers. She walked directly toward the main altar arrangement while her assistants flanked the smaller displays around the room. Guests began turning their heads, confusion slowly replacing celebration as the team started systematically dismantling the centerpiece. "Excuse me." Emily approached Susan with that practiced smile of someone completely accustomed to managing service staff. "We're in the middle of our reception. Whatever you need can certainly wait until later." Susan straightened up, holding a beautiful bundle of white orchids. "Ma'am, I'm Susan from Bellingham Blooms. Payment authorization for these arrangements was canceled 40 minutes ago. I need to recover our company property." Emily's smile flickered momentarily but somehow held firm. "That's absolutely impossible. Everything was paid for weeks ago. The account holder, James Clark, contacted us directly. All payments have been officially stopped." Susan continued removing flowers with professional detachment. "I have written authorization to collect our arrangements." Color drained completely from Emily's face. Around them, guests had stopped talking entirely, their attention riveted on this unexpected drama. Michael crossed the room in quick, determined strides, his expression shifting rapidly from confusion to pure anger. "What exactly is happening here?" His voice carried all the authority of someone completely unaccustomed to being questioned or challenged. "Payment issues, sir. We're collecting unpaid merchandise." Susan's assistant began wrapping the altar arrangement in protective plastic with methodical efficiency. "This is completely unacceptable." Michael's face flushed an angry red. "Get your manager on the phone immediately. I am the manager, and our contract clearly states that canceled payments void all service obligations." Susan nodded toward her assistants, who began systematically collecting table centerpieces while guests watched in stunned, uncomfortable silence. An elegant affairs catering van pulled up outside, just as Susan's team continued their methodical removal. Marcus emerged with 3 staff members, their faces displaying grim determination. They entered through the main doors this time, making absolutely no attempt at discretion. Emily watched her precious orchids disappearing into plastic containers, her perfect composure finally cracking like delicate china under pressure. "There has to be some kind of mistake. My father wouldn't do this. He couldn't possibly." "Ma'am, we need to cease all food service immediately." Marcus approached with his clipboard held firmly in hand. "Payment authorization was revoked at 4:15. We're contractually obligated to protect our equipment and remaining inventory." Michael stepped aggressively between Marcus and Emily, his voice rising to near shouting level. "This is my wedding reception. You cannot just stop service in the middle of an active event." "Sir, we can, and we absolutely must. When payment authorization gets canceled, standard procedure requires immediate asset protection." Marcus signaled his team, who began covering elaborate serving stations with plain white cloths. Guests shuffled nervously around the room, champagne glasses sitting untouched. In their trembling hands, animated conversations had devolved into worried whispers and uncomfortable murmurs. Someone's phone rang sharply, intrusive and jarring in the increasingly tense atmosphere. The string quartet stopped playing abruptly when their equipment coordinator arrived unannounced. Microphones went completely silent. Speakers powered down with electronic clicks. Even the ambient lighting shifted dramatically as the sound technician methodically disconnected his mixing board. Emily stood frozen in the center of her rapidly collapsing reception, that pristine wedding dress still perfect amid the chaos of disappearing services all around her. "This cannot be happening. Not today. Not like this." "Emily, what kind of financial arrangement did your family actually make?" Michael's voice now carried unmistakable suspicion, his anger redirecting away from vendors and toward his bride. "I don't know. Everything was supposed to be completely handled." Her voice cracked with the first genuine hint of building panic. The venue coordinator appeared suddenly, phone pressed urgently against her ear, speaking in hushed, desperate whispers. She approached Emily with obvious reluctance written across her face. "Mrs. Anderson, I've just spoken directly with our accounting department. All payments for today's entire event originated from a single account belonging to James Clark. That account holder has revoked authorization for every single transaction." Emily's careful composure shattered completely and irreparably. The little girl who had coldly dismissed her father from her own celebration was finally beginning to understand the true scope of his generosity and the devastating consequences of her cruelty. She pulled out her phone with visibly trembling fingers, scrolling frantically to a familiar contact. Outside in the parking lot, my phone began to ring insistently. My phone buzzed persistently against the dashboard, Emily's name illuminating the screen like an accusation. Through the windshield, I could clearly see her silhouette framed in the venue doorway, phone pressed desperately against her ear with unmistakable urgency. I didn't answer. Not yet. 25 years of loving that woman had led directly to this pivotal moment. 25 years of believing that sacrifice would build character instead of systematically destroying it. She was barely 3 when her mother died. Cancer consumed Sarah in 6 brutal, merciless months, leaving me alone with a heartbroken toddler who asked for mommy every single morning and every single night. I could have remarried quickly, found someone capable to help raise her properly. Instead, I chose to become everything Emily needed all by myself. "Daddy, will you read me another story?" she'd asked at age 5, curled trustingly against my chest in her favorite pink pajamas. I'd already read 3 complete books and had an early morning meeting scheduled with potential investors for the company. But those green eyes, Sarah's eyes, held such complete, innocent trust in me. "Of course, sweetheart. Daddy always has time for you." That simple promise became my entire life philosophy. James Clark always had time for Emily, always had money, always had whatever she needed to be truly happy. Private school tuition devoured half my quarterly profits when she turned 8. The best education money can buy, I told myself, writing checks that meant fewer business expansions and tighter personal budgets for years to come. Emily wrapped her small arms around me when I told her about Riverside Academy. "Thank you. Daddy, I'll study really, really hard and make you so proud." And she did study hard. Straight A's through elementary school, starring in school plays where I sat proudly in the front row, my construction-calloused hands applauding louder than any other parent in that auditorium. Emily would find me afterward, absolutely beaming with accomplishment. "Did you see me remember all my lines, Daddy? I was thinking about you the whole time." High school changed everything, though. Riverside Academy meant wealthy classmates with trust funds and summer homes in the Hamptons. Emily started noticing differences between her world and theirs. Her Sweet 16 party cost more than most people's cars. A brand new BMW in the driveway, professional catering, designer decorations that transformed our backyard into something from a magazine. "Everyone else got BMWs, Dad. This Honda is kind of embarrassing now." That was 2015, the first time money became expected rather than appreciated. I should have recognized that warning sign immediately. College expenses nearly destroyed the business expansion I'd been planning for 3 years. Northwestern University, Emily's dream school, required sacrifices that went far beyond simple tuition payments. Sorority dues, spring break trips to Cancun, study abroad programs in Italy. Each semester brought fresh financial demands that seemed to grow exponentially. "Dad, I need $3,000 for the business fraternity trip. It's absolutely essential for networking my future." Phone calls became transaction requests. Visits home decreased to holidays only, and even those felt rushed. When Emily did call, conversations lasted exactly long enough to explain why she needed money and how quickly she needed it transferred. Graduate school brought Michael into her life. Old money, family connections, everything I couldn't provide. Despite decades of backbreaking work, Emily started making pointed comments about my appearance at family gatherings. "Could you maybe wear something other than those work boots when you visit? Michael's friends will be there, and they're very particular." The woman who once thanked me for bedtime stories was now embarrassed by the man who'd provided everything she'd ever wanted or dreamed of having. Success in construction meant absolutely nothing to her new social circle. Building the company that funded her privileged lifestyle somehow made me unsuitable for that same lifestyle. Last Christmas, she'd introduced me to Michael's parents as Emily's father, who owns a small business. Small business. 25 years of building Clark Construction from nothing, employing 60 hardworking people, earning enough to support her princess lifestyle, reduced to small business. Dad, we need to discuss wedding funding. Michael's family has certain expectations for the ceremony. Not, thank you for offering to pay. Not, we'd be so grateful for your help. Just expectations, as if my life's work existed solely to meet her social requirements. The wedding planning meetings felt like cold business negotiations. Emily brought spreadsheets. Michael offered opinions about cost efficiency. Neither acknowledged that every line item represented months of my physical labor. Flowers imported from Ecuador. Champagne that cost more per bottle than my workers earned per day. A dress worth more than most people's monthly rent payments. This isn't about money, Dad. It's about quality. Michael's family recognizes quality. Quality that my money bought, but my presence somehow diminished. The very success that enabled their dream wedding made me too common to attend it. My phone buzzed again, Emily's third desperate attempt in 5 minutes. Through the venue windows, I could see her pacing frantically, wedding dress trailing behind, her like a flag of surrender. 25 years of sacrifice had created this exact moment. Not a grateful daughter celebrating her father's generosity, but a desperate woman finally understanding what she'd carelessly thrown away. The irony was absolutely perfect. The love that had spoiled her would now teach her its true value. I reached for the phone. Time to answer her call. The engine hummed quietly as I pulled out of the parking lot, Emily's frantic silhouette shrinking in my rearview mirror. Her phone glowed like a beacon in the gathering dusk, calling me for the 7th time in 10 minutes. Each ring felt deliberate, controlled. My timing, not hers anymore. The drive home took 20 minutes through Spokane's Saturday evening traffic. 20 minutes of watching my phone light up repeatedly with Emily's name, each call more desperate than the last. By the time I reached my driveway, she'd left 4 voicemails. I listened to them while sitting in my garage. Engine off, garage. Door closing behind me like a curtain falling on the day's first act. Voicemail 1. Dad, something's wrong with the payments. There's been some kind of mistake. Call me back immediately. Voicemail 2. This isn't funny anymore. The vendors are taking everything away. People are staring at us. Just call me back, please. Voicemail 3. Please, Dad. I don't understand. What's happening here? Michael's family is asking questions I can't answer. Voicemail 4, her voice finally cracking. I need you. Please pick up the phone, please. The phone rang again as I finished listening to the 4th message. Emily's name appeared on the screen, accompanied by a photo from her college graduation. The last time she'd hugged me without needing money first. I answered on the 5th ring. Hello, Emily. Dad, finally. What have you done? How could you destroy my wedding like this? Her voice carried pure panic now, none of the controlled dismissal from this afternoon. Good. Panic meant awareness, and awareness was the first step toward real understanding. I didn't destroy anything, I said, keeping my voice perfectly level. I simply stopped paying for things. You can't just stop. This is my wedding day. There are 60 people here asking why the flowers disappeared and why dinner service stopped completely. Where are you calling from? The hotel. We had to leave the venue. The coordinators said we needed to settle all the bills before we could stay, so we've been asked to leave. That explained the echo in her voice, the complete absence of wedding. Music in the background. Emily, I need you to listen very carefully. When was the last time you thanked me for anything? What? Dad, this isn't the time for lectures. I need you to call these vendors and fix this mess right now. Answer the question. When was the last time you expressed genuine gratitude for my financial support? Silence stretched between us like a chasm. In the background, I could hear Michael's voice, sharp with growing frustration. I don't remember specific instances, but I've always been grateful. You know that? Actually, I don't know that. What I know is that 3 hours ago, you told me I didn't belong at your wedding, a wedding I paid for entirely. I didn't mean it like that. I was stressed out. Wedding day nerves, you know? Her voice shifted, taking on that wheedling tone she'd perfected in college when requesting money for spring break trips. Dad, please, I'll make this up to you somehow. We can talk about everything later, but right now, I need you to authorize the payments so we can save what's left of the reception. What's left of it? The cake is still there. Some guests are still there. The photographer is waiting to see if we can work something out financially. And what exactly do you plan to use for payment? Another pause. Longer this time, more uncomfortable. I thought you would handle it. You always handle everything. I always have. That's absolutely true. Do you know how much I've spent on you over the past 25 years? Dad, please don't make me guess numbers right now. I'm in complete crisis mode. Take a guess anyway. Rough estimate. I don't know. Maybe 50,000? I almost laughed out loud. 50,000 wouldn't have covered her sophomore year at Northwestern. Emily, I've spent over $300,000 on your education, housing, transportation, and lifestyle since your mother died. That doesn't include what I spent today. The line went completely quiet except for the sound of her breathing. 300. That can't be right. It's actually conservative. I have documentation for every single expenditure. Why are you telling me this now? Because you've never asked. In 25 years, you've never once inquired about the cost of your lifestyle or expressed concern about the burden it placed on me. Burden? I'm your daughter. Yes, you are. And I loved you enough to sacrifice everything for your happiness. The question is, what have you sacrificed for mine? Michael's voice grew louder in the background. She covered the phone for a moment, their muffled argument barely audible through her hand. Dad, Michael's family is really upset. They're asking serious questions about our finances. They want to know how we're going to pay for this. That's between you and your husband. But I don't have that kind of money. You know I don't. Then perhaps it's time you learned to earn it. The silence that followed lasted nearly 30 seconds. What do you want from me? I want you to understand what you threw away this afternoon when you dismissed the man who made your entire lifestyle possible. I understand now. I was completely wrong. Can we please fix this somehow? We'll see. I'm reviewing our entire financial relationship. There will be documentation. We'll discuss this properly when I'm ready. I ended the call and turned off my phone completely. Through my kitchen window, I could see the lights of Spokane beginning to twinkle in the distance. Emily was somewhere out there, facing her first night of true financial independence. Her real education was just beginning. Warm light from my desk lamp cast familiar shadows across 25 years of meticulous record-keeping. Filing cabinets lined one wall of my home office like silent sentinels, guarding secrets Emily had never bothered to ask about. Tonight, those secrets would finally serve their intended purpose. Coffee steamed beside my computer as I opened the first drawer, labeled Emily Education 2020. Behind me, the house settled into evening quiet, but my mind buzzed with the systematic energy that had built Clark Construction from nothing into a 60-employee operation. This wasn't revenge. This was a comprehensive audit. First folder, Riverside Academy. 12 years of private school tuition, each payment documented with bank transfers and semester reports. $8,000 per year in 2008, climbing steadily to $12,000 by graduation. The math was sobering, $126,000 for elementary and high school education alone. I created a new spreadsheet, my fingers moving automatically across the keyboard with practiced efficiency. Column headers appeared. Date, description, amount, category, running total. 25 years of devoted fatherhood reduced to data points and mathematical formulas. The Northwestern University folder came next, thicker than all the others, bulging, with dormitory contracts, meal plan agreements, and study abroad program fees that had seemed so important at the time. Tuition alone, $52,000 per year for 4 years. Room and board, another $15,000 annually. Spring break in Cancun during her junior year, $3,500. Summer in Italy during her art history phase, $8,200. This is essential for my education, Dad, she'd insisted. About Italy. This is how people in my program build professional networks. Page by page, receipt by receipt, the numbers climbed relentlessly higher. Northwestern total, $284,000. 4 years of college had cost more than most people earn in 5 years of honest work. The transportation folder revealed its own disturbing patterns. First car at 16, a reliable Honda Civic for $18,000. Everyone else drives BMWs, she'd complained within 6 months of ownership. Second car at 19, a BMW 320i for $28,000. Third car at 25, a BMW X3 because Michael's friends all drove luxury SUVs. Each car came with insurance premiums, maintenance costs, and registration fees that Emily never saw, hidden expenses that devoted fathers absorbed without comment or complaint. My phone buzzed insistently. Emily's name appeared on the screen again. I let it ring unanswered, adding another entry to my spreadsheet. Phone, iPhone 14 Pro Max, $1,200. The living expenses folder contained the darkest surprises of all. Post-graduation apartment in Lincoln Park. $2,800 monthly rent for 3 full years. Credit card payments. When her spending exceeded the generous allowance I provided, averaging $1,000 monthly for 2 consecutive years. Designer clothing purchases, spa treatments, vacation trips with friends whose parents funded, identical lifestyles. The totals grew like compound interest accumulating over decades. Education, $410,000. Transportation, $75,000. Housing support, $125,000. Personal expenses, $180,000. Wedding, $147,000. My calculator displayed the final sum, $937,000. Nearly $1 million spent gradually over 25 years, each individual expense seeming reasonable in isolation. Private school was an investment in her future. College opened professional doors. A reliable car ensured safety. Nice clothes built confidence. The wedding celebrated love and commitment, but the pattern told a completely different story. Emily had never contributed a single dollar to her own support, never held a job longer than 6 months, never expressed concern about costs or genuine gratitude for sacrifices made. I opened the photo albums I'd maintained throughout her childhood. Emily at 8, gap-toothed and glowing after her first school play. "Thank you for coming, Daddy. Did you see how loud everyone clapped for me?" Emily at 12, triumphant after winning the spelling bee. "I thought about you when I got nervous, and it helped me remember all the words." When had she stopped seeing me as a person worth thanking? When had I become merely a convenient source of funding for her ambitions? My phone rang again. Emily's 14th call since our conversation ended. This time she'd left another voicemail message. "Dad, please answer. I've been thinking about what you said earlier. I know I haven't been grateful enough. I know I've taken you for granted completely. Michael's family is threatening to leave if we can't explain the financial situation properly. I need to know what you want from me." What I wanted was 25 years of appreciation that would never come. What I needed was assurance that Emily understood the true value of what she'd casually dismissed this afternoon. I printed the spreadsheet, summary and organized all supporting documents into manila folders. Education, transportation, housing, personal expenses, wedding costs. Each folder thick with evidence of love translated into dollars, sacrifice measured precisely in bank transfers. Tomorrow would bring conversations Emily wasn't prepared for, questions about responsibility, accountability, and the real cost of lifelong entitlement. Tonight was for thorough preparation. The documentation spread across my desk like evidence in a courtroom case. Nearly $1 million of support provided without question, appreciation, or acknowledgement of any kind. Emily had lived like absolute royalty while treating her benefactor like hired help. That comfortable arrangement was about to change permanently. My phone buzzed once more with Emily's name glowing on the screen. I reached for it, then stopped. Myself. Not yet. Let her understand what complete helplessness felt like. Let her taste the bitter panic of financial dependence without guarantees. Her real education would continue in the morning. Sunday morning brought crisp March air and the kind of mental clarity that comes from thorough preparation. My briefcase sat by the front door, loaded with 25 years of meticulously documented evidence. Richards and Associates had agreed to an emergency consultation at 9 o'clock, a professional courtesy between businessmen who understood that some situations couldn't wait for Monday morning. The law office felt appropriately serious. Mahogany panels, legal volumes lining the walls, certificates documenting decades of successful practice. Margaret Richards herself met me in the conference room, her silver hair and sharp suit projecting exactly the competence I needed. "Mr. Clark, I've reviewed your preliminary documentation. This level of record-keeping is absolutely exceptional." She spread my folders across the polished table, scanning financial summaries with practiced efficiency. Each page represented months of Emily's lifestyle, funded entirely by my sacrifice. The total amount involved is nearly $1 million over 25 years. That's substantial even by our firm's standards. "I want this handled professionally," I said, settling into the leather chair across from her. "No emotion, just business. Emily needs to understand the financial reality of what she's taken for granted." Margaret nodded, making precise notes. On a yellow legal pad. "The documentation supports either gift reclassification or promissory note establishment. Given the pattern of escalating demands without reciprocal responsibility, we have multiple recovery options." She outlined the strategy with surgical precision. A formal demand letter requesting full repayment within 30 days. A detailed accounting of all expenditures with supporting evidence. A clear timeline for response and negotiation. Professional consequences for non-compliance. This approach transforms a family dispute into a business transaction. Much cleaner for everyone involved. By 11 o'clock, the documents were prepared. Official letterhead, formal language, serious implications. The demand was elegantly simple. $937,000 repayment within 30 days, or legal proceedings would commence immediately. "We'll arrange courier delivery this afternoon. Signature required, creating an official record of receipt." I drove home with copies of everything, satisfaction mixing with sadness over the necessity of such measures. Emily had created this situation through years of entitled behavior. I was simply providing the consequences she'd never faced. At exactly 2:15 p.m., my phone rang. The courier service confirmed delivery to the Spokane Grand Hotel, room 1247. Signed receipt by Emily Clark Anderson. The formal process had officially begun. I imagined Emily's confusion when the hotel desk called about a legal delivery. Her assumption: it was vendor-related paperwork from yesterday's disaster. Michael taking charge as the responsible husband, breaking the official seal with typical arrogance, then reading carefully, comprehension dawning slowly like sunrise. The phone started, ringing at 2:47 p.m., Emily's name flashing repeatedly on my screen. I let each call go to voicemail, each message more desperate than the last. Message 1. Dad, what is this legal document? This can't be serious. Message 2. $900,000? That's impossible. You never said these were loans. Message 3. Please call back. Michael's family is asking questions I can't answer. Message 4, her voice breaking. I don't understand how everything went so wrong so fast. At the Grand Hotel, Emily and Michael were discovering what accountability looked like when backed by legal authority. 25 years of gifts had been reclassified as recoverable debt. Their financial dependency was now documented, quantified, and subject to collection procedures. The wedding disaster had been the opening act. This was the main performance. Margaret had explained the process clearly. Civil debt recovery follows standard procedures. They'll need legal representation to respond properly. That costs money they don't have for a debt they can't pay. Emily's frantic calls continued through the afternoon. 15 missed calls, 8 voicemails, each one revealing a deeper understanding of her complete helplessness. The woman who had dismissed me from her wedding was beginning to comprehend what she'd actually dismissed. The irony was absolutely perfect. Emily had spent 25 years taking my financial support for granted. Now she faced 30 days to repay it all, with professional consequences for failure. My phone buzzed again, Emily's 16th call. This time I decided to answer. Dad, please, we need to talk about this reasonably. Emily's voice cracked through the phone speaker, exhaustion replacing yesterday's panic. This legal document, it can't be real. I settled into my kitchen chair, coffee steaming beside me. Through the window, Spokane's Sunday afternoon looked peaceful. Families walking dogs, children riding bicycles, normal people living normal lives. The document is completely real, Emily, as are the 30 days you have to respond. But $900,000? That's impossible. You never said any of it was a loan. I never said it was a gift either. You simply assumed. In the background I could hear Michael's voice, sharp with frustration, paper rustling, the sound of someone pacing frantically. Emily, I need to understand something, I said, keeping my voice perfectly level. Who exactly do you plan to contact for help with this situation? Silence stretched between us like a chasm. Then weakly, family, friends, people who care about me. I see. Well, you have 29 days remaining. I suggest you start making those calls. I ended the conversation and turned my phone to silent mode. Let Emily discover what I already knew, that nearly $1 million in debt would reveal exactly who was willing to help and who would politely decline. The phone lit up repeatedly throughout the afternoon, Emily's name appearing and disappearing on the screen like a distress signal. I let each call go unanswered, each voicemail unheard. By evening, the calls had stopped completely. Monday morning brought a different kind of silence. No frantic messages from Emily. No desperate voicemails. Just quiet. I drove to the construction site where we were breaking ground on a new office complex. Physical work had always helped me think with complete clarity. The sound of heavy machinery. The smell of fresh earth. The deep satisfaction of building something solid and permanent from nothing. My foreman, Dave, approached around 10 o'clock, with obvious concern etched on his weathered face. Boss, you seem different today. Everything okay with you? Family situation, I said, watching the excavator methodically clear foundation space. Sometimes you have to make hard decisions for people's own good. Teaching moments, you know? My phone buzzed with a text message from Emily. Dad, I've been trying to reach family and friends. Everyone is shocked by the amount. Please call me. I deleted the message without responding. Another text arrived an hour later. Aunt Margaret says she can't get involved. She thinks I should learn responsibility. What does that even mean? Then another. Sarah won't take my calls anymore. Lisa is asking questions about why I never worked. People are treating me like I did something wrong. The messages continued. Steadily through the afternoon, each one revealing Emily's growing isolation and dawning comprehension. Her college roommate was uncomfortable with the conversation. Her sorority sisters were genuinely surprised by the financial details. Her few remaining friends were completely unable to help with such astronomical amounts. Michael was having his own serious problems. His mother had apparently called 3 times demanding detailed explanations. His father wanted an urgent family meeting about reputation management. His brother was asking pointed questions about financial disclosure before marriage. By Tuesday, the pattern was crystal clear. Emily's support network was collapsing under the crushing weight of nearly $1 million in documented debt. People who had enjoyed her generous entertaining and expensive gifts were suddenly unavailable when she needed actual financial assistance. Wednesday brought a different kind of message. Dad, Michael's family is pressuring him to consider annulment. They think our marriage was based on financial deception. Please call me so we can work this out somehow. I almost smiled at that. Michael's family was apparently much faster at recognizing harsh reality than their son had been. Thursday's message was notably shorter. Nobody will help. Everyone has excuses. Michael is barely speaking to me. His parents want him to see a lawyer about protecting his assets. I don't understand how everything changed so fast. 25 days remaining. Emily was learning what financial independence actually meant when you'd never developed the skills to achieve it. The education was proceeding exactly as I'd planned. Friday. Morning silence felt distinctly different. No text messages from Emily. No desperate voicemails. Just an unusual quiet that made me check my phone twice to ensure it was working properly. Then the attack began in earnest. Monday morning, my assistant Rachel knocked on my office door around 9 o'clock, holding a printed email with obvious concern written across her face. Mr. Clark, I received this inquiry from Spokane Business Journal. They're asking about family troubles affecting your business operations. I read the email twice. Professional language masking pointed questions about my stability and treatment of family members. Someone had been making strategic calls around town. Any idea how they heard about this? There's also this. Rachel handed me her tablet showing a Facebook post with over 200 shares already. Emily's wedding photo, beautiful and radiant, followed by emotional text describing a heartless father who had destroyed her special day and was now demanding impossible financial payments as punishment. The post painted me as an unstable man, taking revenge on his daughter for perceived slights. Hundreds of comments expressed shock and sympathy, several tagging local business owners I'd worked with for decades. My phone rang immediately. Bob Martinez from Martinez Concrete, a 20-year business partner. James, I'm seeing some concerning things online. People are saying you're having serious issues with your daughter's wedding expenses. Bob, there's extensive documentation that tells a very different story. I hope so, because some folks are asking questions about your contracts with the city. You know how politics work around here. 3 more calls followed within an hour, all expressing concern, all asking careful questions about my mental state and business decisions. Emily and Michael had been very busy indeed. I found Michael's strategy easily enough. His family name opened doors throughout Spokane's social circles. Anderson family connections reached country clubs, charity boards, and professional organizations where reputation mattered most. They were using those connections systematically to spread Emily's narrative of victimhood. The local Facebook groups buzzed with second-hand versions of the story. Construction company owner demands $450,000 from daughter after ruining her wedding. Spokane businessman sued own child for wedding expenses. Each retelling grew more dramatic and more potentially damaging to my reputation. By noon, I'd received 7 business-related calls expressing genuine concern. The Spokane Rotary Club president wondered about my state of mind regarding upcoming community projects. 3 separate contractors mentioned hearing things that might affect our working relationships going forward. Emily and Michael had chosen their battlefield very carefully. In a city like Spokane, reputation was currency. Destroy someone standing in the business community, and you effectively destroyed their livelihood. They'd miscalculated one crucial factor, though. I drove home and pulled out the documentation Margaret Richards had helped me organize. 25 years of financial records categorized and summarized with professional precision. Every check, every payment, every expense Emily had never asked about or appreciated. Then I made my own strategic calls. Margaret, I need to schedule a press conference for tomorrow morning. We're going public with the complete financial documentation. Are you certain? Once this information is public, there's no taking it back. Emily and Michael have made it public already. Now it's time for the complete truth. The next 6 hours were methodical preparation. I contacted the Spokane Business Journal, directly offering complete financial transparency. I called the 3 reporters Emily's campaign had reached, promising documented evidence that would tell the real story. Most importantly, I contacted 25 years' worth of business partners, community leaders, and professional associates, people who'd watched me build Clark Construction from nothing, people who'd seen my dedication to both business and family over decades. Dave, I'm calling everyone on our contractor list. There's going to be a story tomorrow that sets the record straight. About Emily's situation. By evening, I had confirmation. Spokane Business Journal would run a feature story. Local news stations agreed to cover the press conference. The documentation was copied and ready for distribution. Emily's attack had lasted 3 days. My response would last 1 morning. The truth, properly documented and professionally presented, would speak louder than social media manipulation and emotional appeals. 24 days remaining on the legal deadline. By tomorrow afternoon, Emily would understand that destroying reputations was a game best played by people with actual substance to defend. Tuesday morning arrived with the precision of a construction schedule. At exactly 9 o'clock, I published 25 years of financial documentation across every platform Emily and Michael had contaminated with their lies. The presentation was methodical, professional, undeniable. Bank statements showing $937,000 in payments over 25 years. Categorized spreadsheets breaking down education costs, transportation expenses, housing support, and lifestyle funding. Photographs of Emily at every stage of her pampered life. Each image matched to corresponding financial support. Complete transparency. 25 years of parental support. Documented read the headline I chose. Below it, a comprehensive timeline showing Emily's progression from grateful child to entitled adult, with every dollar spent documented and verified. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within an hour, my phone started ringing with completely different voices. Not concerned this time, but supportive. "James, I had no idea about the scope of support you provided," said Tom Bradley from Bradley Electrical. "My kids are in college, and I'm spending maybe $15,000 a year total. You spent that much every semester." Bob Martinez called back. "Personally, I owe you a sincere apology. After seeing those bank records, I understand exactly what you're dealing with. That level of entitlement would break any parent." The social media momentum shifted like an avalanche in reverse. Comments that had supported Emily's victim narrative suddenly looked naive against the backdrop of financial reality. Screenshots of bank statements showing $52,000 annual college tuition payments. Receipts for 3 different luxury cars. 28 years of housing, clothing, and lifestyle expenses that most families would consider impossible to afford. Margaret Richards called at 11 o'clock. "James, the response has been extraordinary. The Spokane Business Journal wants to run a feature story about financial responsibility and entitlement. You've managed to turn a reputation attack into a community education moment. By noon, Emily's original Facebook post looked pathetic against the mountain of evidence I'd provided. People were sharing my documentation with comments like, "This is what real parental sacrifice looks like. No wonder he's seeking repayment. This level of support is basically a full-time job." The Spokane construction community rallied completely behind me. Contractors who'd questioned my stability were now sharing stories about my work ethic and integrity. The Rotary Club president issued a public statement supporting my position. Even the mayor's office released a comment about the importance of financial responsibility in family relationships. Dave texted me from the construction site. "Boss, the crew is talking about your situation. Everyone's behind you. Nobody can believe what Emily put you through." Local news stations picked up the story as a human interest piece about parental sacrifice and accountability. The documented evidence made their job easy. They simply had to present the facts and let viewers draw their own conclusions. Emily's attack had backfired spectacularly. Her portrayal of victimhood couldn't survive contact with 25 years of documented financial reality. The community that had briefly questioned my stability was now questioning hers. Michael's family connections worked against them now. Their social circle was seeing exactly what kind of people they'd welcomed into their exclusive network. Anderson family credibility was being used to spread lies about a respected businessman who had simply documented the truth. By evening, the narrative had completely reversed. Emily and Michael weren't victims of a cruel father. They were entitled individuals who had attacked a generous parent when he finally set reasonable boundaries. The documentation told a story that emotional manipulation couldn't counter. Every bank statement was a chapter in 25 years of sacrifice. Every receipt was evidence of love that had been taken for granted and discarded. My phone buzzed with a text from Emily. "Dad, please take down those financial records. People are saying terrible things about us." I deleted the message without responding. 23 days remaining. The education was nearly complete. Michael's phone rang at 6:47 a.m. Wednesday morning, jolting both of them from uneasy sleep. The hotel room felt smaller with each passing hour, filled with the weight of social media catastrophe and mounting financial pressure. "Michael, this is your father." The voice carried through the phone speaker with unmistakable authority. "We need to talk immediately." Emily watched Michael's face drain of color as he listened to demands she couldn't quite hear. His responses were clipped, defensive. "Yes, I understand the implications." "No, I didn't know about the extent of documentation. The situation is more complicated than we initially anticipated." The conversation lasted 12 minutes. When Michael hung up, he stared at the phone for a long moment before speaking. "My family wants me home today." "Home?" "Michael, this is temporary. My father will calm down once—" "Emily, stop." His voice carried a finality she'd never heard before. "My father received calls yesterday from 3 different business partners asking about our family troubles. The country club is buzzing with gossip about the Anderson family's association with financial fraud." "Financial fraud? That's ridiculous. This is a family dispute that got out of hand." Michael began pulling clothes from drawers, shoving them into his suitcase with sharp, angry movements. "Your father published bank records showing nearly $1 million in support you never acknowledged. To my family's social circle, that looks like deception at best, manipulation at worst." Emily felt panic rising in her chest like ice water. "You're leaving? We just got married 6 days ago." 6 days that have destroyed my professional reputation and my family's standing in the community. Michael's packing grew more aggressive. "I have a trust fund, Emily, business prospects, a future that depends on maintaining certain relationships." "What about our relationship? What about our marriage vows?" Michael stopped packing and looked at her directly for the first time since the phone call. "What marriage? You brought me into a financial disaster without warning. Your father is demanding almost $1 million in repayment and you have no way to pay it. My family lawyer says I need to protect myself from potential liability. Liability? I'm your wife. You're a financial burden with no assets and massive debt. The words hit Emily like physical blows. My family cannot afford to be associated with this level of scandal. Emily's phone, silent for days, suddenly buzzed with a text from Michael's mother. Emily, dear, Michael needs to come home. Family obligations, you understand? The politeness made it worse somehow. Even Michael's mother, who had praised Emily's grace and beauty at the wedding, was cutting ties with surgical precision. Michael, please. We can work through this together. My father is angry, but he loves me. This will blow over. Emily, look around. Michael gestured at her laptop, still open to devastating social media comments. This isn't blowing over. Your father published financial records going back 25 years. People are calling you a trust fund baby who never worked a day in her life. They're right. The accusation stung because it was accurate. Emily had never held a job longer than 6 months, had never contributed financially to her own support, had never questioned where her comfortable lifestyle originated. I was being a daughter. Daughters are supposed to be supported by their fathers, not to the tune of nearly $1 million over 25 years without any gratitude or reciprocation. Michael zipped his suitcase closed. My family runs in circles where people contribute to society. They build businesses, support charities, create value. What have you ever created besides expenses? Emily felt something breaking inside her chest, not just her marriage, but her understanding of herself and her place in the world. Where will I go? I don't have money for the hotel. My credit cards are maxed. Everyone has stopped talking to me. Michael paused at the door, his hand on the handle. Call your father, apologize, accept responsibility. Maybe he'll help you figure out how to become an actual adult. Michael, please don't leave me alone. Emily, I've been alone in this marriage since it started. You never contributed anything except expectations and expenses. His voice softened slightly. Maybe losing everything will teach you something your father's money never could. The door closed behind him with devastating finality. Emily stared at the hotel room that suddenly felt vast and empty. Her wedding dress still hung in the closet, a reminder of 6 days that had destroyed her entire life. No husband, no family support, no friends, no money. For the first time in 28 years, Emily Clark Anderson was completely alone. She picked up her phone and scrolled to a number she hadn't called since that first desperate Saturday. Her father's contact information appeared on the screen like a lifeline she wasn't sure she deserved to grasp. 22 days remaining to find almost $1 million she didn't have, to rebuild relationships she'd destroyed, to become someone she'd never been before. The phone rang once before a familiar voice answered. Hello, Emily. His voice carried none of the warmth she'd grown up with, but no cruelty either. Just calm acknowledgement that his daughter was finally calling after losing everything. Dad. The word came out broken, barely above a whisper. I don't know where to start. Start with the truth. Do you understand what happened this week? I stared at the hotel room around me, at Michael's absence, at my laptop screen still showing hundreds of comments condemning my behavior. The weight of 28 years of thoughtless entitlement crashed down like a collapsed building. I lost everything. My husband left me this morning. His family cut me off completely. I don't have money for tonight's hotel bill. My voice cracked. Everyone hates me. Do you understand why? The question hung in the air like a challenge. For 28 years, I had blamed others for my problems, made excuses, found someone else responsible for every consequence. Not this time. Because I treated you like a bank account instead of a person. Because I never appreciated what you sacrificed for me. Because I was selfish and entitled and cruel. Silence stretched between us. I could hear him breathing, considering. My words, go on? I saw the financial records you published, $900,000 over 25 years. I never asked where the money came from. Never thanked you properly. Never thought about what you were giving up to provide for me. Tears came freely now. The first genuine tears I'd cried since this began. I dismissed you from my own wedding. A wedding you paid for entirely. What else? I tried to destroy your reputation when you stood up to me. I lied about you on social media. I got Michael's family to spread rumors about your character. The admissions felt like removing poison from an infected wound. I became everything wrong with spoiled children who never grow up. Emily? His voice softened slightly. Do you remember when you were 8, after your mother died? You hugged me every night and told me I was the best daddy in the world. I remember. I wanted to give you everything because I loved you. But somewhere along the way, giving you everything became the reason you stopped loving me back. I never stopped loving you, Dad. I just stopped showing it. I stopped being grateful. I stopped being a daughter and became a consumer. What do you want from me now? The question terrified me because I understood it wasn't just about immediate help. It was about what kind of relationship we could have going forward. I want to earn your respect. I want to become the daughter you deserve to have. I want to learn how to be an adult who contributes instead of just taking. I wiped my eyes with the back of my hand. But first, I need help surviving long enough to prove I can change. What kind of help? I need enough money to stay in the hotel for 1 more week while I find a job. Any job. I need a chance to prove I can support myself. Emily, if I help you this time, there will be conditions. Anything. You'll find employment within 2 weeks. I don't care if it's cleaning offices or waiting tables. Pride is a luxury you can no longer afford. I understand. No financial requests for 6 months. You prove you can live on what you earn. Yes. We'll talk once a week, but our conversations will be between 2 adults, not between a parent and dependent child. I want that. I want to earn the right to be your daughter again. Emily, I'm going to transfer $1,000 to your account. That covers this hotel for 1 week, and basic groceries. After that, you're on your own. Dad, thank you. I know I don't deserve it. You're right. You don't deserve it, but everyone deserves one chance to grow up, even at 28. His voice carried both sternness and hope. Emily, I've always loved you. Now I want to see if I can respect you too. I won't let you down. Not again. We'll see. Love you, sweetheart. The call ended, but for the first time in a week I felt something other than despair. Not relief exactly, but possibility. The chance to become someone worth respecting. 21 days to prove I could change. A lifetime to earn back what I'd thrown away. I opened my laptop and started searching for jobs in Spokane. Every entry-level position looked intimidating to someone who'd never really worked, but intimidating was better than impossible. For the first time in my life, I was going to earn something myself. The education was finally beginning. If you connected with this story, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had to learn accountability the hard way? Click the video on the left for another powerful story about family, sacrifice, and second chances. Thanks for watching.